Less than 5% of Australians last year earned more than $150,000 by working 40 plus hours per week. Yet this client, and many like him, earned that by sitting on their ass and doing sweet fuck all. Last year, we paid $970,000 for a property within 10 Ks of Brisbane CBD. We just had the valuation back 12 months on. We bought it last January, and we're now recording this in January of 25. Come back at $1.145 million. Like I said, that was within 12 months, which means there was an equity uplift of $175,000. To buy the property, we put in a 20% deposit of $194,000. We then had this beautiful thing called stamp duty, which was $35,000, which means our total cash contribution to purchase the property was $230,000. Now, because the property was only leveraged 80%, because we put in 20% cash, by the time you factor in negative gearing and depreciation, the property was paying for itself. The equity uplift of $175,000 equals a 76% return on the cash originally invested. Now let's assume that over the next 12 months, it does half the amount of growth. So instead of growing by 175,000 like it did in year one, it grows by 87,500, which then gives us a grand total of $262,500 of growth since we purchased the property of 970,000. That then takes our return on cash from 76% to 114%, which essentially means we've more than doubled our cash into the deal. Let's assume that the following year it also grows by $87,500. All of a sudden, our return on cash then goes to 150 odd %. And this is the power of real estate. The power of real estate is putting in your initial cash. Eventually the rent starts to cover all the expenses, so it shouldn't be costing you much, if anything, out of your pocket when you get to that point. Then the return on your cash invested as the property continues to grow gets greater and greater and greater and greater. And all of a sudden you'll turn your $230,000 of cash into $1 million, into $2 million, into $3 million. And although $2 million is only double what we paid for the property or thereabouts, or $3 million is only triple what we paid for the property, it ends up equating to 15, 20, even 30 times the amount of money that you actually put into the deal. And then the real kicker is when we go buy property number two, instead of you putting our $230,000 of actual cash into the deal, we're going to use this $262,000 of equity, which is the bank's money, not our money, to then roll into the next deal. So we've actually put zero of our own money into the deal. And all of a sudden the return on cash becomes infinite because you're not using your own money to buy more real estate. You're using the bank's money, and then the tenants are helping pay for the majority of the expenses related to the property. And this right here is how you build a multi-million-dollar portfolio, which will actually give you the life that you want, as opposed to going and working 40 hours, 50 hours, 60 hours a week for less than $150,000 a year and thinking that's the way you're going to get rich.